guys and welcome back to my channel. In today's episode we are going to be discussing my relationship with flying, I guess is the best way to describe this, because I certainly still have anxiety around flying, but it's no longer as bad as it was. I'm not at the point I want to be yet, but I'm getting there, so it's kind of like how all of that is going, and I'm going to share with you sort of the things I'm still doing to try and like get better at that, and like why I was bad, and like all of we're gonna cover. It's gonna be a comprehensive video today. Also, with all these videos, just to let you guys know, if I do more of a like in-depth topical vid, I do leave for you like further reading down below. I link articles, I link videos, anything to just supplement this video, especially if this is something that you have and are struggling with. A lot of things I link are usually sources for this video, so if anything I've said has interested you, you can definitely read up more and more on it down below. I was gonna do this video a while ago when we went to Amsterdam, but then I was like, no, it's fine, it'll just like freak you out too much. But honestly, I think this is just kind of my hopefully calm PSA also to myself. I know I will rewatch this video multiple times to be like, okay, Emma, chill. It's fine. So just let me start this video off with saying flying is the safest mode of transportation. You have a 1 in 11 million chance of something happening to you. If you get in a car, it's 1 in 5,000. I don't know which odds I prefer, which leads me to a few tips I'm just going to reel off at you really quickly before we get into like the meatier part of this video. Firstly, know the facts, know the physics. 2, don't drink any caffeinated drinks before you're about to fly. It will make everything feel worse for you. Listening to music during a flight may help you. Unfortunately, it's not something that works for me, but maybe that's something you can try. Try to keep yourself physically as calm as possible. I know mentally things can get, but as long as you just try and keep your body feeling calm, it can go a very long way. Go in with a positive mindset. Do not assume that you're gonna have a bad flight. Don't assume you're gonna freak out. Just try and think about it as positively as possible. If thinking about your destination helps and the times you're gonna have, do that. Think about anything but having the experience you want to avoid. You're essentially conditioning yourself to believe that's gonna happen otherwise. Have a good distraction for the flight, whether it's a book, music, in my case, editing usually helps. Anything just make you focus your energy on something else rather than paying attention to everything around you, which often just sort of puts you into this overdrive of, oh my god, everything's gonna go wrong. Just avoid that and have a good book. So let's just start with how bad of a flyer I was before. I think maybe around age 14 I started getting quite bad at flying. A lot of my anxiety started getting worse and worse at that point in my life too. So when your base level anxiety is already quite high, then you add flying on top of that, which makes most people nervous anyway. I think it's between 10 and 25% of people get nervous around flying. My baseline was so high, just adding the flying anxiety on top of that kind of made it just go through the roof for me. And then also, because my siblings can be terrible people, they would be like, oh my god, Emma, what was that noise? Oh my god, Emma, can you feel we're falling? So to their amusement, it kind of got worse. And like, I know they obviously didn't mean it, but them saying all those things really made the experience worse for me, especially then if people become dismissive because you've never really had these fears before, being like, you're putting on for attention, you're not actually feeling like this, you're doing it to be weird, cool and quirky. Yeah, no, I fucking hate flying. Great, but I'm getting better. I moderately dislike flying. There we go. Let's framing things is important too. The worst part has always been and still is takeoff. If you hold my hand during takeoff, if you even touch it, it's like there's an ocean of sweat on my hands. It's actually disgusting. The best way that I found to get people to stop making fun of me and mocking me during this kind of situation is to wipe my incredibly sweaty anxiety hands all over their faces as punishment. Trust me, it works. That's not something people want to go through again. The worst thing as well is I used to like pre-freak out. I would freak out about it weeks, even months in advance. My first thought of going away would be, I have to get on a plane. That would be my first, and that was so, I didn't even get to enjoy the build up to going away because I was so focused on the fact that I had to fly there. Like, I don't want to have to think about going away and be like, oh, it's not like, you're excited to go away, but then, you have to go do this horrible thing that you really don't like to do. And I think that's the main thing that I've essentially got to. The point where I've got to is that I'm very good at only freaking out during takeoff. That is the only time now that I freak out. I've managed to get myself into a point where I think the best way to really say is that I haven't by any means overcome my fear of flying. I don't have a fear of travel or anything, it's just my fear of flying. I've made it manageable. I can deal with it, it's not a problem, it's not going to stop me from going anywhere, missing on opportunities, anything like that. It's just takeoff. I can't deal with it. But I know that it's just that bit. Only that bit now. If you're a person who has difficulty, at least at the moment, with the entire thing of flying, the entire airport, all of that, one of the best things you can do is really, it's called an anchor thought, is to think about your destination, to only really focus on that. If you focus on that, if you keep telling yourself all the times you're gonna have, the things you're gonna go do, the people you're gonna go see, that is the best thing you can focus on. And it's something that I try and do more and more, which also stops me from pre-freaking out, is that if I look at my calendar and see, oh, I'm going away, which in 2 days I am, I try and focus on the location, the things we're gonna do, you know, instead of going, I have to get on a flight. I try and sort of, you know, just skip that bit out, because then I can't, like, I don't raise my like base level anxiety going, oh shit, flying. I kind of keep it as low as possible, being like, oh, I'm gonna go away, it's gonna be so lovely. I would definitely say that I've never had a panic attack because of it. I've had panic attacks in the past, so I've never had a full-blown one about flying, which is relieving, obviously. I do want to make the point that obviously that fear of flying can manifest very, very, very physically. For me, the best ways I've found to cope with that is to try and have control over my body, and then knowing my mind will follow, rather than trying to control your mind and then just letting your body get more and more uncomfortable, to let yourself tense up more and more, to breathe more and more quickly, to stress, that physical, you know, that physical feeling of stress, and to let your heart rate go up. Worst thing you can do. If you physically feel all these horrible, then your mind is just going to be there going, okay, and now we're freaking out. This is why I want to make the point of trying to stay as calm as possible, especially for as long as possible, because I can't stay calm the entire time. I still can't, don't know if I ever will be, but I can try and keep myself as calm for as long as possible, because then at least you don't have a build-up, which means there's also a limit to how bad you can possibly feel. I know a lot of people struggle with a loss of control when flying, so think about it. If you at least know you can try and control your body, you can slow your breathing, you can try and almost meditate, you can use a stress ball, you can squeeze somebody's hand, even things like when you notice your body has seized up because you're so stressed, to just physically allow yourself to just release. That also, just calming yourself down physically will also calm you down mentally. Even if you just, you know, believe this and it's placebo, that works too. I believe in placebo. Also, in terms of trying to keeping yourself as calm as possible, you know, beforehand as well, for me what helped a lot is that I am an inherently stressy person when traveling. God bless everyone who's ever traveled with me, because if I get so stressed about the entire thing. That also meant that I think I managed to almost shift the brain space in terms of I would focus more and more, especially as I started traveling more and more independently. The more in charge I am, the more I'm focusing on this, the more I'm like, oh my god, where do you have to be? Oh my god, are we on time? Oh my god, do we have enough time? Oh my god, did I forget something? Oh my god. Like, then my brain is focusing so much on that, it doesn't even have time to be like, we have to get on a plane. I have to get on a plane. I don't have time to stress about this and get scared and anxious about this, because I'm too busy wondering if I have enough pairs of knickers for all the time that I'm there. Like, it's actually one of the fantastic things about no longer having to travel with my parents, is that if I'm with them, they're in charge, which means the brain space is left to me to go, oh my god. But if I'm traveling with my boyfriend Chris, as I'm doing in a couple of days, then I'm like, I'm in charge. I have to be the adult now, great. But it is great, because then I'm just like, oh, I need to stress about other things. Which obviously links into the whole thing of having something else to focus on, something to distract you. Really, it's a massive distraction. Additionally, a way that I've coped with a lot of anxiety about things is, and I find it ridiculously effective too, this I guess is a life tip in itself, is that I break these big scary things down into baby steps, into tiny baby steps. It's not like, oh, I need to fly to a different country. It's, I'm going to the airport. We'll just chill. It's easy. I'm just checking in. I'm just going through security. I'm just waiting for Chris to hopefully come back with the right sandwich that I asked him to go buy me. That in itself will cause you a lot of stress. But just trying to break it down into the tiniest steps that you can, going, oh, I'm just getting on the plane. I'm just finding my seat. I'm just buckling myself in. That apparently is like the main way you'll get injured on a flight, is if you like don't have your seatbelt on during turbulence. And also, most people who get injured on planes during turbulence are the poor flight attendants. So like, forget about yourself for a moment. These poor people will just get flung around. No, they don't get flung around a plane, that's dramatic, but like, they're the most likely to actually get injured. So just breaking things down as tiny as well. Again, base level anxiety kept low, because you're not thinking about the entire experience. You don't let the entire experience overwhelm you. You just think, I'm just sat waiting. I'm just in a queue. I'm just walking along those, you know, the like escalator, not escalator, but like floor escalator thingies that go. I really like those. Those are really fun. So it's like breaking it down into tiny, tiny, really manageable steps. You're not thinking from like A to Z. You're thinking about A to A.1 to A.2 to B to B.1 to B.2. Like, you're not making the massive jump. You're just baby steps. Apologies as well if I sound like a broken record repeating things, but for me, I find that if I'm watching something where I need to just take it in, me repeating it often, I think helps, because I'm like, just this. And again, it's fine. So as I said, those things really have made it very manageable for me, that I only freak out during takeoff. The moment I'm above the clouds as well, I'm completely fine. I'm completely fine during landing. I now don't even freak out during turbulence. More than the average person would, of course. That's actually quite recent as well, because when I went last year with Chris to Menorca, the flight over was not good, and I could just see how like done with me he was, because I know some people just can't understand it, and that's fine. I read up on it a bit because I realised I'd never even bothered to look what turbulence actually was. I allowed myself to be scared, because the thing is, when you don't know something, you allow yourself to be scared by it. If you educate yourself, you'll find that you can calm yourself down about things a lot more, because you have the facts. That's what I said, know the facts. As a person as well, I respond very good to rationalizations. So instead of thinking, why is this massive metal tube able to fly through the sky? Just think, it's made of aluminium, and also thrust is a thing. So for as long as it exerts more thrust than the thrust of, I did physics GCSE, like you know what I mean, like it's physically not possible for a plane to fall out of the sky. They just don't fall out of the sky. And also, if a plane's engines both fail, they are designed to be able to fly with one, mind you. If they all were to fail, a plane can glide for a good 70 odd miles. You're never gonna have the flying, something happens. That's not gonna happen. Don't let Hollywood tell you otherwise, okay? It's not gonna happen. I think the reason as well that I'm fine during landing is because in my head I'm like, okay, we're getting closer and closer and closer to the ground, so therefore I'm less and less likely to die if something happens. Because I don't know if that's how that works, but let me live in my ignorant bliss, okay? With turbulence, I'll explain what it is in a second, but my main rule is, if the air flight attendants do not freak out, you do not freak out. And believe me, they never freak out. Their calmness should very much be your calmness. They do this for a living. They have seen all of it, so just, they are calm, you are calm. So turbulence is something you're just, most likely, you are gonna get. One thing I read said that you should compare it to bumps on a road. You can't really expect the journey without them. Every time now I'm sat on the train and it's shaking a lot, I have to think, God, you know, imagine how I would be freaking out if this was a plane. That's what I keep telling myself. I'm like, you've never felt anything like this in a plane, but you're so used to it in this situation, it's okay. So if you're quite high up, turbulence can happen when you're in the jet stream. And because jet streams aren't very long, but they're not very wide, if you're near the edge of one, and you're near the edge because of the jet stream, it's like two different speeds of air. So if you're near a bit where the air is going really fast, and then you touch a bit where it's going a bit slower, that can cause turbulence just because of a difference in airspeed. But turbulence in itself, you may think of it, you drop really suddenly and stuff, but the plane only moves by like a few feet, and a foot is like 30 centimeters. So you're literally moving by a few centimeters, but it feels like you're falling massively, but it's only a little bit. It's really not as bad as we all like think it is. A lot of things I also read said you should not let yourself get caught up in the idea that in the cockpit you have this pilot struggling, trying to fly the plane against the turbulence, and apparently this is really not what happens. That is a massive Hollywood dramatization that think they're like, ha, but apparently they just chill and they're like, okay, how do we avoid this? Should we fly a bit lower? Apparently it's nothing as dramatic as you think it is, which is always nice to know, because I'm an inherently dramatic person as it is, so I'm like, calm. My imagination works in overtime when it really needs to just... Also, when you're going through the clouds, you will just get turbulence. This is something I remember an air hostess saying to me, but I couldn't find it online, so I don't know how true this is, but what she said was that when you're going through the clouds, the clouds are obviously made up of water particles, they're a lot denser to fly through to start with, but you get turbulence and shaking because when you're going through, the water droplets go into the engines and spin in the engines, and that makes everything shake a bit. So again, it's completely safe. This is a quote from one of the articles I read. Apparently they measure turbulence in light, moderate and severe. So this pilot said, severe turbulence is extremely rare. In a flying career of over 10,000 hours, I have experienced severe turbulence for about 5 minutes in total. It is extremely uncomfortable, but not dangerous. It's soothing to hear, isn't it? One of the things as well is, like I said, I don't do very well with headphones, and I think this is because I need to hear everything. If I can't hear anything, I freak out. I don't know why that is a thing with me, but if I can't hear anything, I just massively freak out. So what I found is a list of explanations of the noises you hear on a plane and why you shouldn't freak out. The list is down below. I had a great time going through it. With a lot of these things in mind, just like knowing the facts, knowing the way for me to manage my anxiety, because as growing up as well, it's got so much better than it was. I've made a video on it, it'll be up there. This is one of the times when I get the most physical about it, which is very, very unpleasant, because then it also sort of triggers past feelings of other situations in which I've been very anxious, which you never want to ever have to relive. So being able to manage the physical effects of my anxiety has been very, very helpful. Knowing the facts so I can rationalise and debate with myself in terms of keeping my brain calm has also been very, very useful. Another advice is just to not fly with arseholes. That helps too. Shout out to my siblings. So the main takeaway from this video hopefully is just to learn to keep your mind and body both as calm and as chill as possible. I would very, very much appreciate your tips and advice to share with me and to everyone else in the comments. I hope sharing this with you helps you guys manage your fears and anxieties around flying and travel a bit better. Thank you so much for watching this video. I make videos every Tuesday, Thursday and Sunday, internet speed permitting. Like, subscribe and all that jazz, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Bye.